I'm reading this book at the minute called A Happiness Hypothesis, and I want to share with you something that I learned, which I kind of already knew, but just breaking it down and understanding it on a deeper level makes more sense. So there's two parts of the mind. You've got the elephant and you've got the rider. Now, the difference between the two is the elephant, and again, my understanding might be a little bit skewed, but I think the best way for me to also learn is to try and explain it, because it's going to internalize that knowledge. The elephant is much older than the rider, because the elephant has been a part of us since humanity as a species, was created. It's those internal cravings, impulses, desires to eat, to mate, to have sex, to find those wands. And what I mean by those wands is those things that trigger dopamine to fire off in our mind and give us that feel-good instant feeling. Sex, drugs, alcohol. And what you would refer to those as is, first off, impulses, but second off, pleasures. Now, the good thing about pleasure is it feels damn good in the moment. And it is good in life and should be used, but in moderation. And then you've got the other side of the brain, which is the rider. Now, of course, because the elephant is much older than the rider, a lot of the time it's a lot more powerful. Sometimes you don't even realise that the elephant is guiding your action and what you do. But because it's so deeply buried in your belief system and your unconscious, sometimes you don't even realise it. I know a lot of people that, for example, aren't even aware of the fact that they've got an addiction. Maybe they smoke, maybe they rationalise in their mind reasoning behind why they do the things they do. And the way you want to see the rider is the person that experiences gratification. He's the one that thinks long term. He's the one that needs to, ride the elephant. He's the one guiding it, but it's not good enough to try and pluck up enough willpower on a long enough time horizon to control the elephant, because, the analogy makes sense, right? A rider on an elephant is never going to be able to, with just brute force going against the elephant, guide it in the right direction. It's like you, without fixing any internal problems or any deep-rooted beliefs, just going after smoking for 5 years. I'm going to quit today, I'm going to go cold turkey. The chance of you being able to do that is very slim. And that's why so many people get stuck on it, because they focus on the action rather than the identity behind why they do it. And the elephant, most of the time, wins. The elephant knows you better than you. And the way I see it as well is like an internal sales letter. You know, when somebody tries to pressure you into doing something, you call it peer pressure, right? Maybe you're in a group with friends and everybody's smoking and you don't want to smoke, and they'll be like, oh, come on. And then they'll bring up reasoning behind why you should do it or why you're boring until you eventually do it, right? The elephant has that, but on it's 10 times harder to resist, because the elephant knows everything about you more than you know about you, because it understands your belief system, what's buried in your unconscious that you're not even aware of on a conscious level. So it has the ability to dictate your action and basically the trajectory of your life. And when I read that in the happiness hypothesis, it made a lot of sense, because I've heard about this quote that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will control your life and you will call it fate. And I thought about a real life example in my life. And that example would be, I got so tied up in drinking energy drinks. I was drinking them a lot. And I was trying to just brute force through it with willpower, grit, just going, you know what, I'm just going to stop today, cold turkey. And every time I'd revert back, until I realised one thing, that the elephant is the one that's guiding me towards that action, because of course it's stronger, right? It's going to be stronger than the rider. And at the same time, the rider, you also want to see like a lawyer. And what I mean by that is, picture the elephant is the person being framed or the person in court, and the rider has to come up with a rational reason as to why they shouldn't be put away or behind bars. Now, the thing is with lawyers is sometimes they will lie, or sometimes they will avoid the grey areas that maybe make the defendant look bad, because, well, their intention is making them get free and not get put in prison, right? And that's exactly what the rider does when you get in these situations. It rationalizes in your mind the reasoning behind why you should do things that you know you probably shouldn't do, to the point where you do them because it knows you better than you, and at the same time it just, oh fuck, I'm just trying to figure out how this works. It's a confusing concept, but I'll give you an example, and this is what I figured out. So for example, every time I went to get an energy drink, every now and again I'd get this thought in my mind, and it was like, oh, but you work so hard, and like, it's only one bad habit. And that would be the lawyer. That's the rider, right? Only talking about the things that align with the elephant's intention, which is, I want an energy drink, I want dopamine, I want pleasure now. So in order to control that, rather than trying to go brute force and go, no, I needed to get to the deep-rooted belief and understand why I really wanted the energy drink. I literally got up on my road board and I put a bunch of energy drinks on there. I just kept asking, so why do I want this? Why? And then I came up with a list of pros and cons. What are the pros of drinking these drinks? What are the cons of drinking these drinks? And then when the elephant understood it, it's like it all just clicked. It was like, oh shit, it has zero benefit to my life. Because that reasoning behind like, oh, I'm going to drink it because it helps me focus and I'm going to get more work done. Well, that was immediately disproven, because every time I drink them, I'm jumping from task to task. But yeah, just something I thought I'd share. I think it was pretty powerful to understand why your mind does the things it does, why sometimes your reasoning can be skewed and you don't even understand it. And then one final thing I did take away from that book that was incredible was, oftentimes, and there was proven studies and things done on this, your perception of other people and your judgment on giving life advice to them is usually pretty accurate. I think it was like 90% accurate. But your perception on what you should do is completely inaccurate. Like, the way you see yourself a lot of the time is completely skewed. And the reason that's because of is, well, number one, the rider is always trying to defend the elephant. It's always trying to be like, yeah, but it's like ignoring all of the bad, and it's focusing on the good. So a lot of people actually see themselves as a lot better than they are, which is quite crazy to think about, because I always thought, yeah, I'm different, you know. When I read that, I was like, wow, okay, maybe not. Maybe I'm just normal. But yeah, something I thought I'd share. Sunny today in the UK, weather's good, feeling good, on a mission. Yeah, no idea why I made this.